All right, so welcome. I'm trying something a little bit new, and this is something that came up in a class, a high school class I'm teaching. So we talk a lot about logos, we talk a lot about branding, and we were talking about Chick-fil-A. And not because we were talking about logos or branding or marketing or advertising or anything like that, because they were talking about food that they like. And I don't know exactly how it came up, but I have a feeling it's probably just because I'm a lunatic and I bring up all kinds of random things in my classes. I'm pretty sure that's why kids don't mind being in my class, because they think that I'm a little bit crazy, which that's fine. That's okay. So anyway, we're talking about logos in Chick-fil-A, and they asked me if I had ever eaten Chick-fil-A before, and I said no. And then I got to thinking, I'm like, well, actually, it's probably a good conversation to have if we're talking about good design. We're talking about, learning how to be an artist, learning how to be a designer, and also talking about design that I don't think works. And in terms of graphic design, where you're trying to get a message across, communicating a message to a specific viewing audience is pretty much the whole idea of graphic design. So with Chick-fil-A, what they're trying to communicate to people is that they want them to eat chicken, and they don't want them to eat hamburgers, because they are a fast food chain that focuses on chicken, and other fast food chains focus on cows. So they're trying to sway people to eat more chicken, and they're thinking, well, it's a good idea if we say, save the cows, eat more chicken. But I think it's actually ridiculous, because when I first saw a Chick-fil-A appear in my neighborhood, and it's actually on my commute on the way to school, I drove past the sign, and I had never heard of Chick-fil-A before, and I read the sign in my head, not out loud, and I read it Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, which I think was kind of short for Chick-filler. And if you talk about a filler, I get kind of grossed out, because I'm talking about something that is like taking up space that isn't real, right? So if you have a filler, you stuff into a hot dog, and you grind up a bunch of gross stuff like beaks and feet and whatever else, and you call it a chicken nugget. Okay, number one, they've spelled something wrong, which to me is stupid. And you never want the consumer to think that you're stupid, right? Because you're wanting them to give you money. That's what you're about. You want them to eat your food, but you're right off the bat, we're gonna say we're stupid because we can't spell. And then two, if you're in the food industry, I think especially in America, you try to desensitize the consumer from the idea that they're eating an animal. And Chick-fil-A is not doing that, because they've got a giant billboard everywhere. You see these giant cows, 13-foot tall cows, painting signs that say things like, we're not going to bathe until you stop eating hamburger, or some kind of nonsense. They're spelling shit wrong because it's a cow, and cows can't spell. They're painting on these billboards, so they're grabbing a bucket of viscous material, and the font that they used, the typography in the billboards may be the worst part of what they're doing, because the last thing you want people to think of when they're eating food is blood, and you've got this dripping font where they're writing the misspelled words. So now you're stupid. Now you're grossing me out, because what is it that they're painting the sign? Is it black paint? If you want to go really south with this, if you want to get it really wrong, then make that red. Make that paint red. Now they're literally painting with chicken blood. So now you've got cows that are assassinating the chickens, throwing them under the bus so that people don't eat a cow. Now, the other thing, so one, you're stupid. Two, because you're spelling things wrong. Two, you're throwing it in my face that I am consuming animal flesh, which I am not a vegan. I am not an animal rights activist. I am not, and I'm probably the furthest thing from any of those things. But I am desensitized because I grew up in America where we are desensitized to the fact that we are consuming animals. We're so far from the hunter-gatherer mentality where you had to go out and you had to kill an animal in order to feed your family so that you can survive. Survival of the fittest, natural selection, all that sort of thing. We're so far from that. When you're a kid and your family says, let's go out and get a hamburger, you're going out and getting a hamburger and thinking a hamburger is not a cow. You're disassociating the fact that what you're eating is an animal. And Chick-fil-A is bringing that right back around to the front. So it's saying, okay, you are consuming an animal. You are participating in this sort of savage idea of being a carnivore. Eat this chicken. Kill the chicken. Eat the chicken. If you are driving down the street and you see a chicken that got loose from a chicken farm and somebody hit it with their car going 60 miles an hour, and you saw a chicken carcass on the road, you wouldn't think, delicious, let's get that thing, take it home, and get that puppy on the grill. You know, you'd have the kids puking in the back because there'd be, you know, there's chicken guts all over the road. One, spelling things wrong is dumb. There really is nothing funny about being stupid. So I'm trying to tell my 6th grade kid, listen, you're not entertaining people by saying stupid things or doing stupid things. It's just stupid. So now you've got this, like, you know, multi-million-dollar franchise, fast food franchise that is participating in, we're funny because we're spelling shit wrong, or we're funny because we can't even spell our logo. And number 2, you've got the disgusting thing of, you know, and we're being lied to. I mean, let's be real. I think it was Paul McCartney that said, if slaughterhouses had glass walls, no one would ever eat meat again. We're so disassociated with the fact that, you know, steak is cow. Bacon is pig. Chicken is really one of the only things that is called chicken that we still eat, but it doesn't look anything. It doesn't look anything like a chicken. When it comes on a bun, it looks like some sort of a gigantic piece of mashed down popcorn. It doesn't look like chicken. If it looked like a chicken, if they serve me chicken on my table with the head still on it, I probably wouldn't eat it. I don't think you would eat it either. And I'm not telling you not to eat Chick-fil-A. What I'm saying is they're not doing themselves any favors. So from a design standpoint, the logo is poor. The advertising, marketing, the branding with the billboards and the cows and the whatever they think they got going on, the humor, they're not doing themselves any favors. It actually makes me not want to eat that, right? It's making me go, I ain't eating there. I mean, nothing, I've never gone there. And it's really because of that. You know, having a talk about logos that work, branding that works, because that's part of my world as an artist. It's part of what I do is, you know, I'm designing things, visually communicating with people. And I think that they're doing such a poor job of it. When you're designing something, you're trying to give people the impulse to buy something. So you want them to have this impulse where they feel the need that they want something, or they must have something, right? That's what branding and marketing and advertising and brainwashing and visual sort of like trickery is supposed to work. So it's an impulse, but this is repulsive. So I'm like, okay, let's talk about some logos that are repulsing you, where you're like, I don't even want that thing because of that. Like, you know, looking at really unsuccessful design might help us to know what not to do, which might help us to create more successful design. So that was kind of the idea that I had with this video, was to just, you know, to take a logo that was just in my mind right now, the Chick-fil-A thing. If you want to put in the comments, some logos that you think are some of the worst examples of design, or branding campaigns that you think are just terrible, and caused you to not want to participate or buy that product or eat that food or whatever it might be. And then maybe we can do some videos later that talk about some of the best. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that. I didn't want to make it too long, and I didn't want it to turn into too much of a crazy rant, but that's it. That's one of my new ideas for a different kind of video. Let me know. Let me know what you think. Just trying to get things rolling with the channel. Things are going pretty well, I think. So, yeah, see you next time.
Thanks for watching. There's a little button that they put on the laptop or something, and then they say click it, and then you can never even miss a video.
That's if you subscribe.